The Los Angeles Lakers are one of the most storied and decorated franchises in the NBA and are loved by many and hated by just as much. With a new look roster going into this next season, how good can they actually be? Let's figure it out. Hello everyone and welcome back to Step Back with Zach, and in today's video I will be going over the hard truth of this year's Los Angeles Lakers team. The Los Angeles Lakers championship aspirations are at an all-time high since winning their previous championship back in 2020, after seeing the improvements to this team during the offseason. Adding DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and seeing Luka Doncic's insane offseason transformation, there is growing optimism amongst their fan base. Luka looked really comfortable during Eurobasket and during his two preseason games against Phoenix and Sacramento, and this year I believe he's primed for an insane season. With internal improvements to Austin Reeves and with LeBron still being on the roster, all these things out loud sound promising, right? The LA Lakers last season finished the year with a record of 50-32 under leadership of brand new rookie head coach JJ Redick, who I thought actually did a really good job last season. He is the second coach in franchise history, along with Phil Jackson, to win 50 games in their first season as the head coach of the Lakers. We all know about the crazy trade that happened between the Mavericks and the Lakers, and with such a crazy shift at the top of their roster, the Lakers still managed to finish the season super strong. Through January and March, and specifically after the Luka trade, the Lakers defense really held up. They had a really good 8-game winning streak through February, beating some crazy contenders like Denver, like New York, and even beating the Clippers twice on back-to-back nights. During this time, the Lakers really seemed poised to go on a deep playoff run and potentially compete for a championship. And they proved many doubters and naysayers wrong, who all said that their defense after trading away Anthony Davis would hold them back, where during this time they were actually a top 5 defense in the whole of the NBA. However, come playoff time, the Lakers got absolutely steamrolled in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, why is this? The Lakers were outworked, out-hustled, and overpowered, only winning one game in that series. The Lakers played a very heliocentric style offense, running a lot of it through Luka and LeBron. And against a very switch-heavy, athletic Minnesota Timberwolves side, this was never going to work, especially because Luka Doncic was very out of shape. There was absolutely no shot that that Lakers team was going on a deep playoff run. But can this year's roster do it? For the 25-26 season, the Lakers look very different because of the additions of the aforementioned players. In 40 games for the Portland Trail Blazers last year, DeAndre Ayton finished with splits of 14.4 points per game, 10.2 rebounds, 1.6 assists per game, and defensive stats of 0.8 steals and 1 block a night. However, with an offensive rating of 110 and a defensive rating of 116.8, DeAndre Ayton is not a good defender, where he finished with an overall net rating last season of minus 6.8. DeAndre Ayton is 7 feet tall with a 7'5" wingspan and weighs 250 pounds. You would think that someone who's that big with those measurables would be a much better rim protector. He's very slow-footed, meaning he cannot keep up with guards, especially on the perimeter, meaning he can just let guards drive right past him. He has poor shot blocking instincts and does not time his contests very well at all. On the offensive side, however, DeAndre Ayton can be a huge difference maker for this Lakers team. He will be an insane lob target for Luka Doncic. As we know, Luka thrives the best when he plays with centers who can catch an alley-oop. And this is further helped by the fact that DeAndre Ayton last season, within 0 to 3 feet of the rim, DeAndre Ayton shot 82.5% from that range on a little over 150 attempts. Because again, he did only play 40 games last season. However, outside 0 to 3 feet, DeAndre Ayton really struggles. For being so massive, DeAndre Ayton tends to settle. He takes these little short mid-range jumpers that never amount to anything. He's not very good at creating his own shot. He's not very good at using his size. And as he's gotten deeper into his career, he's decided that he wants to take shots from further and further away. Where in his third year in the NBA, when he was still on the Phoenix Suns, he shot 53% of his 2-point shots from 0 to 3 feet. However, this last season, he only shot 34.5%, further proving that his IQ is not very high. I just don't understand it. Like, you know that you're that much bigger than everybody? Why the hell are you settling for some stupid ass shots? Go in and score at the rim, dude. He is, however, also a very good rebounder. As I said, he averaged 10.2 a game last season, and 3.1 of those were offensive rebounds. And if he met the games played requirement, he would have finished 10th in the entire league for offensive rebounds a game. I do think that DeAndre Ayton is going to have an improved season with the Lakers this year. However, I don't think he was the center that the Lakers needed. Yes, he's going to be good for what they want to do on offense, especially with Luka handling the ball. However, his defense, which is what I think the Lakers needed the most from the center position, is really, really lacking. He's going to be an upgrade from Jackson Hayes, obviously, but I think the Lakers should have pushed harder for a Walker Kessler trade. As of recent as well, he has had some major health concerns. The other two main acquisitions for the Lakers this offseason, Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart. Jake LaRavia last season finished averaging 6.9 points in 20 minutes a game, playing 66 games in total. He is a decent role player. However, there really is not much to say about him. But I'm going to try my best anyway. He doesn't shoot the ball very much, only attempting 5.1 shot attempts a game last year, although this was on pretty decent efficiency at 47.5%. He is a good three-point shooter where he shot 42% on 2.2 attempts a game. However, this number definitely needs to go up. I'm talking about shot attempts, obviously. He does have the ability to put up bigger numbers than this though, where 2 seasons ago he did manage to average over 10 points a game, which is what he's going to need to do for the Lakers and possibly even push this to around 12 to 13 points a game. I believe that the Lakers are going to want him to try and fill the void that Dorian Finney-Smith has left, being that 3-and-D wing that they so desperately need. Now, Marcus Smart was the final pickup for the Los Angeles Lakers this offseason, who will be playing significant minutes for them, barring health, of course. Marcus Smart was obviously picked up by the Lakers for his defensive potential. In 2022, Marcus Smart was named the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year, and as a guard, that is really damn impressive. Smart is definitely a historically very good perimeter defender, where he's finished all defensive first team a few times in his career. And during his stint with Boston in 2014 to 2023, he was widely regarded as one of the best defenders in the entire association. He's good at reading passing lanes, he's good at poking balls loose, he's a great hustler, one of the biggest hustle players you'll ever see, especially during that time. Recently, however, since leaving Boston, he has only played 54 games in 2 seasons for the Grizzlies and the Washington Wizards, while looking slower and less mobile due to injuries. Smart is going to be good enough for at least to steal a game for the LA Lakers. However, being 31, he's obviously showing signs of slowing down. He's definitely far from the player he was in Boston. And because of these factors, it's definitely hard for me to see Marcus Smart being the perimeter defender that the LA Lakers so desperately need. However, in his last preseason game against Sacramento, he did pick up 4 steals. Now, next I'm going to talk about very briefly the huge loss for the LA Lakers during the offseason, and that was the loss of Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith last season was the perfect 3-and-D player that the LA Lakers desperately needed. With him on the court, the Lakers had a plus 13 net rating, showing how valuable he really was. He was such an integral piece to that insane defensive stretch I mentioned earlier. And without him now, there really is no one to fill that role who can step out and hit a three-pointer while being a good point-of-attack defender. Now we're going to get into the LA Lakers' big three. Let's start with the head of the snake, Luka Doncic. We all know how offensively dominant Luka Doncic is, so there's no need to go too in-depth of Luka's offense, especially his past offensive stats, as we've covered this so many times already. So instead, I'm going to focus on what I believe his future looks like, especially for this upcoming season. As I said earlier, I believe Luka Doncic is primed to have an incredible season and make a case for the MVP award. I can see him finishing the year similar to what he did with the Mavericks back in the 2024 NBA season. Although I don't think he's going to average 33.9 points a game, I can see him getting between 31 and 32. He is, however, going to have a tough go to start the season due to the LeBron James injury, where we know LeBron won't be back until mid-November at the absolute earliest. With opposing teams knowing this, Luka Doncic is probably going to be absolutely shut out and guarded heavily. Or teams are going to play the Lakers just like the Celtics did against the Mavericks in the 2024 finals, where their approach was, we're going to let Luka beat us by himself. We're going to shut out everybody else. So he has to make every single play. And obviously this did not work for the Mavericks back in 2024 because Luka was not as in shape as he is now. So maybe with Luka Doncic being super in shape, we can see this approach not working for opposing team defenses. Although I said that I believe Luka Doncic can have a great season, I just don't think because of the lack of talent around him, that this is going to translate to as high of a seed as the Lakers were last year. LeBron James is one of the two greatest players of all time. There's no debate with that. We all know how great he is, his longevity, his IQ, and his long-term dominance. However, LeBron is 40 right now and will be 41 in December. As insane of a feat it is that LeBron James is still playing at such a high level now, his age is definitely starting to show. As I said before, LeBron is currently dealing with an injury, this being sciatica, which is very common amongst older people. Since joining the Lakers back in 2019, LeBron's games played has definitely decreased. Last year, however, he did play 70 games, which is really good. However, for the first time since his rookie year, we saw LeBron James average less than 25 points a game. He was still good enough to make an All-NBA team though, obviously. He's LeBron. Jesus Christ. He's still one of the best players we have in the league today. The good thing for LeBron though is that when he comes back, he's not going to have such an offensive burden. As with skinny Luka and Austin Reeves, he's going to be able to sit back and coast, really. I think LeBron James is going to fill the role of that 3-and-D player that the Lakers need this year, but he's going to be like one of the best 3-and-D players the NBA has ever seen. However, that man is definitely ready to pass the torch to Luka Doncic. And the final member of the Big Three, Austin Reeves. We all know what I think about Austin Reeves. He's a great offensive player who can create his own shot, and he's a damn good playmaker as well. He was a really good piece for the Lakers when they still had Anthony Davis. However, as I mentioned in my hot takes video, Austin Reeves cannot coincide with Luka Doncic. You cannot have two bad defenders like that on the perimeter. In my opinion, he needs to be traded for a wing. He needs to be traded for a good defender and someone who can hit some consistent threes. They also need to trade him before his contract expires, because if his contract expires and they don't trade him, there's no way that they're going to be able to afford his contract. Last year, he did give the Lakers 20 points a game, but come playoff time, he really struggled, and he was really a huge hindrance to the LA Lakers, as with him on the court, they had a -10 rating. Overall, unless the Lakers make a move where they trade Austin Reeves for an actual player that they need, I don't see them getting very far in the playoffs, which sucks because I love Luka Doncic and I love LeBron, but it is my job to be real. The Lakers are way too top heavy. It is super important in today's NBA to have a good supporting roster, which the Lakers just don't have. Their depth is terrible, with their best bench piece potentially being Jake LaRavia. The Lakers overall, though, are a top 10 contender for me. However, if they match up against some very athletic, young, scrappy defensive teams like the Thunder, like the Rockets, like the Timberwolves, I cannot see them making it out of those series. They also aren't as well-rounded as a team like the Denver Nuggets, so I also see the Denver Nuggets being better than the Lakers. Man, I want this Lakers team to be so good, so badly. But GM Rob Pelinka has not made very good trades, other than obviously trading for Luka and trading for Anthony Davis back in 2020. I think the absolute ceiling for the Lakers is the second round. However, my ultimate prediction is that they are going to be eliminated in the first round, as long as the team they are facing stays healthy. And that is it on my take for the upcoming LA Lakers season. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.